Hey everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with the Missionary. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks since my last podcast. Had quite a bit going on, some travel time, some stuff going on here where we was on our way to Fiji. We're going to be talking about that and so much more. Before we get started though, go grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee, kick back, relax, come back, and we'll get started on this week's episode. So we've had a emotional, eventful, and exciting couple of weeks. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get anything uploaded recently. Uh, Missed last week. We was traveling and we had a lot going on. Many of you know that my grandpa passed away last week, and it's been a very emotional time. We lost him, and then back in 2019, right after we moved to Papua New Guinea, we lost my grandma. So it's very difficult when you're in the field and you lose a loved one back home. But we have Daniel and Harley there, and the rest of our family that's really been there to come through and to represent us. Um, but I still appreciate and covet your prayers. It's still a hard time. We don't go back to America until late September, early October, and it's just a time of healing, time of mourning, time of mending. We are here in Fiji now. I'm actually sitting on the back patio of our hotel, and we have a great place to stay here. It's nice. We're on the ocean. We've been able to do a few things while we're here, and we're just excited to see what God's going to do over the coming week with us being here for the national conference here in Fiji, and just to see what He has in store. We had a great service yesterday with Brother Satoki. He's very close to where we are. I think it was about a 14 minute drive, but let's talk about some of the things that happened. The funny thing is, I thought about starting a vlog um, back. Well, as we was getting ready for this trip, I was like, people's always asking, what is a day like? What do you do in a typical day? So I was going to do like a travel day thing. I didn't do it because, I don't want to be that guy walking around talking into his phone or his camera the whole time we're in an airport or a hotel or whatever. So I just that's kind of irritating when you see people, who's not even watching where they're going, but they're talking into something. But here's kind of the rundown of how this all came about. On last week, let's see, it was Tuesday. We flew out of Mount Hagen. We get to the airport, plenty of time, get checked in. Guy tells us our flight's leaving earlier than what he originally said. We set, we wait, and then finally they call us up at the original time that we were supposed to be leaving. At least it wasn't later. I mean, that's a plus, but we was expecting to leave like an hour early, and that didn't work out. So we get to Port Moresby, get our bags, get everything ready, get to our queue where we're supposed to be catching the shuttle to our hotel because we're overnighting there. Our flight didn't leave till 6:30 a.m. and Mount Hagen is not an international airport, so they close at like 6 at night. They don't open back up. The first flight out's at 7 or so. So there's not any way to get there before our flight flew out for Brisbane. And so we're sitting and we're waiting. Well, there's no shuttle, so I'm waiting around. I talked to a few of the people there. No shuttle. Still no shuttle. So I call the hotel. About 20 minutes later, the hotel sends a shuttle to pick us up. While we're waiting on the shuttle, I'm looking for our vaccination cards because we have to have those before we can fly internationally. And we got everything turned in plenty of time. Just kind of wait until we got down to Port Moresby so we could pick those up. Get down there. Send an email. The lady says, oh, or the person says, oh yeah, come see me. I've got your Vax card ready. So I'm going around the airport looking for Vax cards. I finally go to the customer service desk. You're like, oh yeah, those aren't here. Those are downtown. You have to go down to the health department to get those. So I was like, well, okay. So we'll go to the hotel and get checked in. So I called the health department, find out where they're at, all of this. Get into the hotel, get checked in. We wasn't renting a car because we was only going to be in Port Moresby for maybe 12 hours or so, and get a ride down to the health department. Stay in there and wait for a little while. Go inside and they can't find our vaccination cards. So I'm standing there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and he's going through stack after stack and queue after queue of these cards, and he's trying to find our cards, no luck. And finally, the last stack that he looks at, we was the first 3 cards on top. Me, Ezekiel, and Adrian, and Sister Marshall was on top. Adriana didn't have to get vaccinated, so those cards were right there on top. We got those. Got back to the hotel, got everything ready. Went down to the restaurant, grabbed a bite to eat. By this time it was probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. Sunset over the ocean was beautiful. We had a view of the ocean from the hotel that we were in, and it was just amazing. Well, the hotel restaurant, I'm sorry, it kind of overlooked the ocean. You got a view over a few buildings right down into the water there, so we got to see that. Get back to the room. They had a washer and dryer. We washed the clothes that we had worn that day to get them ready for the rest of the travel. Got everything ready. About 2:30 the next morning, my alarm goes off. We get up. We get down, headed down to the airport. Shuttle was there on time this time. Grabbed us, took us down to the airport. We got there early enough to where we could fly out to Brisbane. To get to Brisbane, you had to be there pretty early. We want to be there by 3. We flew out at 6:30 because with all the travel restrictions right now, you never know what you're going to get into when you get to the airport. So we get to the airport, and the guy asked me if I had my transit cards ready for Australia, or my immigration cards. I said, we don't need those. We're just transiting through. We're not staying. We don't have anything to pick up, nothing to check. All we have is our carry-on luggage, and we're just going right on through there. Well, come to find out, regardless of whether you're staying or whether you're not, you have to do a customs card in order to go through Australia. Well, I get on and get mine done. They give us a number. I had to do it for all 4 people. Internet goes down, so my phone's frozen. And then in order to verify everything, they send you an email. And all 4 emails had to be different. So here I am trying to get all this done, and the guy was like, just hit add new, and you can just add a new person on what you're doing. Well, after looking into it, that's not even a thing. You have to sign out, create an account for each person, do all of this. So now it's crunch time, right? I mean, if you're in an airport and you're getting even anywhere near your time, and you've got paperwork to do, you haven't made it through customs, you haven't got your passport stamped, none of that. I mean, it gets a little dicey. It's something that you're just like ready to get out. Ready to make sure that you're going to get on that plane. So we get there and finally get all of that done. Get up to immigrations and customs. Get through. Make it to the place where we're going to be waiting, and then we hear the intercom go off that they changed our gate. So now we're getting all of our stuff ready, going from one gate to another to make sure that we're on time for our flight down to Brisbane. Get down to Brisbane, and then after we get there, we didn't have to get our bags back, recheck them, anything like that because of COVID. It's kind of a A to Z kind of thing. They try to check it as far as they can before you have to touch your luggage again. So we're in Brisbane. We find a Subway. The kids and Sister Marshall, they ate some Subway. I found some Red Bull. Hadn't had any Red Bull for a while, so I got me a couple of those, and then we was able to get to our gate. Once we got to the gate, we find out it's been moved as well. Brisbane Airport, though, it's pretty easy to maneuver, and they only moved us like 2 gates away from where we were originally. So you hear them calling our names over the loudspeakers, and I'm like, oh, here we go, you know. So I'm going down and get down to the place where they're boarding, and they called us over the loudspeakers, and I'm thinking it's going to be, usually if you hear your name, it's either really good or really bad. They've either taken something or they're upgrading you. So we always hope for the best, and we get down there, and they had just called me so I could pick up our boarding passes, and they could let us know that the gate had changed. So that was a blessing right there. Go from Brisbane, we flew from there to a place called Nadi, which is here in Fiji. We landed here in not here. We're in Suva right now, but we landed in Nadi at around it was like 6:30. And we had about 3 hours before our flight went out, so we went and checked our bags and found a Burger King. Was able to go have some Burger King. You're going to hear a lot of fast food stuff here. Hey, we're Americans, right? And we live in a third world country. So you come across the Burger King, McDonald's, Subway, you know, we're stopping. So we stopped at the Burger King and had dinner there. First time we'd had that in a while. It was good stuff, man. I'm telling you. We get here to Suva. We finally caught a flight out of Nadi. It was late getting out, and then we get to Suva, and that's where it got really interesting. So I had started planning this trip to Fiji a while back. Brother Satoki had reached out and asked if I would be able to make it to the conference here about, it's been a month and a half, and I was like, I told him I would love to come. Let me see what I could work out. I was able to get our room booked for a reasonable price, and I was able to get it done really early. I was able to get a rental vehicle booked for a reasonable price, get it done really early, and thought I had all my ducks in a row. Well, that's not so much the case, because I used Hertz, and I'm going to throw a disclaimer out there. If you ever rent a car, don't rent it from Hertz. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. So we get to the airport in Nadi, and I go to the desk, and there's some nice people there working. I said, hey, my name's Ryan Marshall. I'm here to pick up our rental car. I've had it booked for a while now. So they're going through their paperwork, and they're saying, oh, we can't find you. They said, what company did you book it with? Because they've just got like this cluster here of all these different agents from different companies standing in a little box area. And I said, well, I got it through Hertz. They said, well, our Hertz person isn't even here right now. Let's give him a call. So they call this guy. I'm talking to him on the phone, and he said, I'm sorry, I don't have you on the list, and we don't have any cars here. I said, but I booked this like a month and a half or 2 months ago. I said, I really need this vehicle. He said, well, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Hangs up the phone. I was smiling a little, but the smile was upside down, I guess you could say. It was so frustrating. I was so upset. So now we're talking to this nice young lady. Her name is Asma, and she's telling us, that she works for Avis, which originally I had booked through Avis, through Expedia, but then whenever I booked our room through IHG, they offered me a better deal through Hertz. Well, I canceled the Avis rental, went to Hertz, and this is where we ended up. So I'm sitting here talking to this lady from Avis, and she's like, man, I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have any cars. She said, let me call my manager. So that she calls her manager, and her manager said, hey, we've got an 8-passenger van down at the lot, and the price wasn't near what I needed it to be. It was a lot higher. It was like a passenger vehicle. We got 4 people. We don't need a bus, But she was able to help us out, and we went down there, and we was able to get that bus, and we get in it. She gets everything. We got the keys. We're putting our bags in, and it's blocked in by another vehicle, and she's like, hey guys, I can't find the keys to this other vehicle. And by this point we had already paid. We'd already made the deposit. We already had the key. I mean, we was just ready to go. So we started traveling at 2:30 a.m. and we landed at 9:42 p.m. So that's a pretty long day in itself. So we're ready to get to our hotel, right? I mean, we're just ready to go. Well, she can't find the keys, so there's a little Toyota car there. And she said, look, she said, I can't get you in this van tonight, but I can get you in this Toyota until tomorrow. Well, we get it. We get to the hotel, and, it was nice. And I was like, man, maybe she'll just let us keep this. Well, she calls the next morning. They come switch us out. She said that vehicle was already rented. And now we have this 8-passenger vehicle. And we've been going down the road, and people think it's a bus, right? So we'll go by a bus stop. And people try to flag us down and wave us down, so we'll stop and pick them up. So I just kind of smile and wave at them like, like, hey guys, what's up? This is not a P&V. We're just trying to get to where we're headed. And it's pretty funny that they've been doing it all weekend. They're like trying to get me to pull over, pick them up, take them wherever, and it's just not working out. So we've got that vehicle right now. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. I'm pre-recording because we've got this week pretty booked out. Trying to get some stuff going for the ALJC Fiji, so I'm trying to keep myself able to be with them as much as I can this week and get some stuff going there. But tomorrow I am supposed to be taking this big old van back down there and getting a car. So y'all pray that works out because we really need to get that taken care of and get a smaller vehicle. This big van, we're trying to whip it around in parking lots and trying to get it into parking places and do all this stuff, and it's like it's a high ace, which is basically any of you. I was in the bus ministry, thank the Lord. So here's one for you bus ministry guys and gals. It gets you ready. I mean, if you ever get in a situation where you're in a place where you have to rent a passenger vehicle, at least you know how to drive it, right? I mean, there's always a plus side, a positive. Yesterday, me and Sister Marshall and Ezekiel and Adriana, we went, like I said, and had church with Brother Satoki over here, and it worked out good that we had that vehicle at that time because we was able to get all 4 of us plus Brother Satoki and Sister Satoki in that car, and we had 6 people in there, and it worked out pretty good. We was able to bring him over here and have some coffee here at the hotel and just get some good fellowship going and talk about some things of the future and just kind of see where his heart's at, as far as moving forward, and that was refreshing. One thing that we've been able to do since we've been here, is we celebrated Ezekiel turning 18. So on June 16th, Ezekiel turned 18 years old. I am still waiting on his visa information, and it's getting close to us going back to PNG. We go back a week from tomorrow, so we've got 8 days to make, to pray that God opens that door. But we celebrated him. We took him to a restaurant that's out on the water. It's actually an old boat that they've converted into a restaurant. It was so neat. It's called Tico's. And whenever you're on the boat, it's pretty funny because it's not a big boat. It's not like a cruise ship or nothing like that. So whenever the waves are going, and it just so happened we went on a full moon, so they call it a king tide. Man, it was rocking like crazy. We had big waves coming and hitting the boat, and knocking it around. The waitresses, they're trying to carry stuff, and you could just see them rocking back and forth. And They sang to Ezekiel. They sang him happy birthday. They had a musician there that was playing the keyboard and singing it. It was just a good time. Great food, and we was able to celebrate that. And then on Saturday, one of my bucket list items that I've always wanted to do is go to the island where they filmed Castaway. So it's one of my favorite movies. I don't know why. It's not like it's a super exciting movie. It's just a movie that I've always really enjoyed. And we was able to go out there on Saturday and it was an all day thing. It was nice. All inclusive. Cruise in Fiji done a great job taking us out there. And what you do is we went down. It was about a 4 hour drive. Well, 3.5 hour drive from where we're at to the port we was going to, is Port Denaru. We drove down there and got everything checked in. You know, we got our tickets ahead of time. Found a really good deal on TripAdvisor. Well, I tell you what, when you're a missionary, you find out where the good deals are, and that's the ones you go with, huh? The more deals and the more points we can get, I'm telling you, the better off we are. But we get down there and load up on the boat. It was all inclusive. They gave us a lunch, all you could drink water and soda, 2 snorkeling stops, and then we went to the island where they filmed that. So me and the kids, we got to do quite a bit of swimming and snorkeling and jumping off of boats and all kinds of stuff. Sister Marshall, she stayed in the boat, and then she got off and went over to the island with us. But we had a little taxi boat that came and picked us up from the big boat and took us over, because the big boat couldn't dock over in the sand, so they had a little bitty like dinghy boat. So that was really cool. I got quite a few pictures of that. That's just something I've always wanted to do, and I got to check that one off. So that's pretty exciting stuff. We're here at the hotel now. We got a beautiful view. I've been able to sit back there and just kind of soak that in during the mornings, and it's just been beautiful. It's been pretty wet here over the past, well, since we've been here. We've had one day. Thank the Lord, it was the day we went out to the island where we didn't get rain, but we must be here in rainy season, because it's been raining about the whole time. Been learning very little of the language. We can say hello and thank you. That's pretty much the extent of our Fiji language so far. But we're just excited about what God's going to do this weekend. Starting Friday night, we're going to start our Fiji National Conference. It's going to be Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night. We're going to have service. And I'm just excited to see what God's going to do. Over here in Fiji, we have 8 home churches, and we have 6 outreaches. So we've got 14 churches total over here. So we got quite a bit going on. I'm excited. You know, we're ready for that next step in the process, just to see what that step's going to be and what God's going to do. And I can't wait to see what that is. We had a great service yesterday. Preached a sermon. Let me tell you who Jesus is, and we preached Jesus all the way from Genesis to Revelation. The theme this year, you know, we've got, from what I've heard, we have a lot of guests coming. So we're just going to talk about Christ and Him crucified, talk about how good God is, and just draw them to the altar. We're going to let God do the work. We're just going to be the willing vessel that shares His message, and we're just going to see what God has in store. Y'all keep on praying for us, though. It's been an interesting little while. You know, with the passing of my grandpa, that kind of rocked us. Didn't kind of rock us. It hit me pretty hard, especially me and Adriana and Sister Marshall and Ezekiel. You know, we're me and Adriana. That was our fishing buddy. So we were looking forward to getting back and having a fishing trip with him whenever we get back. But like I said, Daniel and Harley's doing a great job of representing us back there in America. You know, I've got some great cousins that's helping with the process too, with the final processes of the house and all of the stuff there. So just pray that God yokes us up together. You know, we always talk about how we need to be yoked up together whenever we're talking about sharing the gospel and spreading the word, and we do. I mean, that's a given. That's Bible, right? But whenever it comes down to someone passing away and having to divvy out everything and all of that that's something else we need to be equally yoked in, right? Because it's something that, I mean, sometimes when someone passes away, it not only is it devastating because you lose that person, but it's devastating because sometimes people in the family kind of veer off, and they want to make it about something that it's not. And you know, it's not about what stuff anybody gets. It's not about what this or what that. It's all about making sure that things are done right, and there's nothing worth you know, losing your family over, and splitting a family up over. It doesn't matter what it is, how much it's worth, where it goes. You know, just pray for unity. Now, I'm not saying that we're completely torn on anything. I'm just saying keep that unity, and make sure that, you know, that God keeps his hand of peace upon all of that. Sorry for the background noise today. I went down to the ocean to record this, and like I said, it's raining today. It's kind of cold today. It's probably in the 70s today. There ain't been one person in the pool, one person since we've been here. And I went out there today by the ocean. They got a little cabana where I have coffee and stuff. Went out there to record today, and wouldn't you know it, there's 4 or 5 people in the swimming pool on a rainy, cold day. They're playing music over on the other side. So I just came back here on the back porch of our room, and we got some road noise. It's raining. We've had some kid noise, but hey, it's all good. Studio is portable, right? At least mine is. So just keep on praying. Pray that God has his way here in Fiji. You know, we've covered quite a bit in this podcast today. Just want to let you know why the last one wasn't put on in time, and some of the things that have happened. But you know, God has given me some time to relax. God has given me some time to kind of mend some things with all the stuff that's going on. I had about 3 days last week where it was just, you know, I was just able to relax and enjoy the day. Whenever we was on our way to that cruise down on the coast that I was telling you about, where we went to the Castaway Island, you know, we was going down the road, and I got a FaceTime call from Daniel, and I was able to talk to him and go to my grandpa's funeral via FaceTime. You know, talk to some members of my family that I hadn't talked to in a while, and that, you know, it was refreshing. I was able to see them. I was able to get some closure on my grandpa's death. You know, being able to, even though I wasn't physically there, I was still there. And you know, my mind has been there for a while now, ever since the fall. I told you guys about the fall, where he had fallen down the stairs. My heart, my mind has been there with him. We've been praying for him, and we're just continuing to pray for my family. You know, it's not all about Ryan and Kim and the kids. You know, that there's a lot of people involved. There's actually me and several cousins, and then my aunt. We're all kind of going through all of this right now, and you know, it's just it's a mess. There's 7 of us survivors left, and that's just his daughter, which is my aunt, and the rest of us are grandkids. And then we got a lot of great grandkids and things like that. So just keep praying that God just keeps his hand upon that, because we don't need any more. You know, that's his death is enough for us not to have to deal with any nonsense or any drama. So keep praying. That's all I can ask. You just keep on praying. The more people we have praying, the better off things will be. We love you. We appreciate you. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to Coffee with the Missionary. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, follow us on social media, and go to anchor.com to find out how to support us monthly. God bless.